welcome to Adventure Build Gaming. My name is Ryan, and in this episode, I'm going to show you how I built this cool little statue for your wargaming table or adventure. It could be an animated statue or anything else for your table. So we're going to go over the table and get building. Come on, check it out. Okay, right on. We're going to use the MDF again, just beveling the edges. So nice transition down to your gaming surface. Just use the knife, cut away for yourself, obviously. So right on. Now that your base is made, we're going to move on to what we're going to build the statue's base out of. We're using the XPS foam, and we're going to cut it with a hot wire cutter that I have from Woodland Scenics. It's pretty good, works for me. But remember, use what you got. I'm using the workbench as a flat surface to cut myself a nice sheet of the XPS foam. Makes it easy, nice and flat, and I'm just holding it vertical. Once that sheet is cut, I cut them into long strips so I can turn them all into bricks once I have them. I find with bricks you want to do large batches. It's easiest, and then you can have spare ones for later if need be. Okay, now that you have them cut, we're going to line them up and we're going to just cut them into the bricks sizes we want. So roughly around 3/4 of an inch. Use what works best for you, remember. Okay, now that they're cut, you want to texture them. Well, I find the best way is head into the garage. Come on. Okay, get yourself a small little container of rocks, dump your styrofoam blocks in, and start shaking. This will give the texture you want on them. Okay, once your desired shakenness, not stirred, is done, pull them out, check, and there you have it. A nice little bit of texture around the edges. Okay, now start sticking them to the base. Using the tacky glue, seems to be my favorite as of late. Takes a little bit to dry, but when it dries it forms a really nice bond. I sketched out a little bit of a grid on the base just to help lay out your bricks. You do what you need to do to help line things up. This worked for me. Keep stacking them up. I'm using a paintbrush with a bit of water on it to help take any oozing of the glue. Just cleans it up a little. Just keep stacking them up. It's a slow process. I usually will watch more YouTube myself, just pass the time. There it is, the 4th brick high in the statue. I'm building 2 of them at the same time. I'm just not showing you guys the second statue base. The glue wasn't completely dry when I started messing with it, so I kind of shifted a little to adjust things. That's half the thing of building. There it is, dry and ready for the next stage. Really enjoying how this is taking shape. Right on, back to the XPS foam. So I'm using a little piece of MDF to help gauge the cut smaller instead of readjusting my wire cutter. Remember, you can use a knife to do this. This is what I had at hand, so I'm using it, and it was quicker and easier for me to do it. Okay, just squaring up the piece I cut before I mark out the capstone of the statue. Marking out 1.5 inches. I know, I bounce between metric and imperial. That's the joys of being a Canadian, eh? Now it's marked out, I'm going to cut it out with my knife. I'm going to keep the cut clean. Oh, there it is on top. Yeah, it's a little wobbly, so I'm taking my knife and just trying to level out the blocks. Be even. Now I'm grabbing my emery board, just cleaning it up, rounding the edges, flattening out the top and bottom, just cleaning up the stone piece. styrofoam piece to make it look more stone. Now that you've done rounding it, you're going to do a test fit before you actually glue it on. Right on, using the tinfoil ball technique to get that little extra stone texture onto the top. Don't want to go overboard, but right on. Just going to apply a little extra to the column itself with the tinfoil. Probably didn't need it, but I'm going to do it anyway. Now attaching it, just using the glue again, spreading it around with a wet paintbrush before I stick it on. Trying to line it up as best I can, get it somewhat even on both sides. Just cleaning up that excess glue there. Right on, now onto the basing. I'm choosing to base this with two types of sand. One's a little larger than the other, just to give it some variation. One of them is just your standard play sand, your bag of sand, whatever you find. Sand is used in so many basing. I like it a lot. It's tough and resilient, especially when you're using it with a lot of Mod Podge, obviously. And then using a heavier grade of aggregate, the jar of gravel from the Dollarama, to give a gradient, I guess you could almost say, in some areas, blend it in. Mod Podge, the crafter's friend. Okay, now we need to decide what we're putting on top of our statue platform. So we need a statue. So I went and printed something. I have a FDM 3D printer. This is a mini that I scaled up in size, and we're going to use that on top of it, and hopefully it works out for what we need. But yeah, we're going to try to use our time wisely, paint this up, and then we're going to put them together. Second statue is going to be used with this wrestler figure. So you can really use whatever you have, and this is how I'm showing it, using the same techniques as the other one. For the statues, I'm using a Deco Arts Extreme Sheen antique bronze. Giving it, I give it a few coats. Yeah, I'm only showing one. There's a few spots I had to go over twice. Just get a nice full coverage, and then we'll be giving a patina to it after here. So as that dries, I'm going to paint up the base of the statue using a tan. I'm just covering the whole thing. So that's simple. Getting into all the cracks, recesses, complete coverage on it. And if you spill onto the base, don't worry about it. We're going to paint over that. So. Okay, so for the patina part, I'm using the Nylax Oxide from Games Workshop Citadel paint range and just covering the whole mini. Now, disclaimer, later on I do go over dry brush over it because I found that it was too much. I had a few comments from a close friend and my wife that it was just a tad too much compared to the base age, how it looked. Right on the second statue, I'm using a craft paint. One of them is Ocean Breeze by Craftsmart. Just an acrylic paint. The other one actually was a dollar store brand that actually was the same color. So, and I added a little bit of light blue, or pale blue, I believe is what it is, to it. Helped the color, and I got the same outcome in the end. Using the craft paint instead of the Citadel paint. So use what you got. I'm gonna keep saying it because it's so true, and I'm blown away by just using what you got. Right now painting the statue's base. I'm using a golden brown, a dark gray, a suede, and a gray to paint the bricks individually, a few of them, just to give a variation and a uniqueness. You could have left them all the same color, that would have worked also. I'm just choosing to do this to change it up, give it a little flair. For the final color, I'm using suede on the top and on a few other of the bricks. Now that it's dry, I'm going to move on to the wash. This is the homemade black wash that I use. Right on. So now I'm starting to dry brush on the base. I already covered it with a brown, I believe cinnamon brown. It's kind of a light dry brush over everything. I'm just slowly changing the gray colors. Yeah, so I'm trying to mimic like a street in a medieval town. So hence why the muddy kind of gray look. A little bit of dry brush on top to the model. I meant to do it before I put the wash on, but it just didn't. I forgot about it, and which just happens. But you just go with the flow, and I really enjoyed how it turned out. I like the look. A little on top of those stones. There we have it. It's the completed dry brush on the base and on the statue. Now a brown wash I'm using. It's another homemade brown wash I made, very similar to the black wash. It's just a brown acrylic paint and water with a flow aid. So I think I used jet dry for this one. Now to attach the statue. So I used a pin vise, they're called. It's a little hand drill and some brass rod. Marking out roughly where I need to put it, and then using the pin vise again to get that hole. So it's a two-part 5-minute epoxy I've used it for a while now, and it's really good, and it does work. The key is you make sure you mix it in a separate container until it's kind of the opacity of it is very whitish, and within 5 minutes it will be set up. There you have it. 2 statues for your gaming table. Really hope you enjoyed the making of this. I know I did. If you liked the video, like and subscribe. And if you really enjoyed something, comment down below what you really liked. This is a lot of fun. I'm enjoying making new videos. This one took a little longer to get out, but I enjoyed the process nonetheless. Seeing you on our next adventure.